Most people spend nickels without a second thought. But some Jefferson nickels that look completely ordinary have sold for shocking amounts. One tiny detail can turn a simple 5-cent coin into a fortune. Check yours now. The 1968 D. Jefferson nickel is a coin most people saw every day without ever thinking it could be valuable. It's part of a series that has been in circulation for decades, used in vending machines, pocket change, and everyday purchases. In its normal, error-free form, a circulated 1968 D nickel is worth just 5 cents. Even uncirculated examples without any special characteristics generally sell for only modest premiums because millions were produced and many still survive. Without a mint error, this coin is common and doesn't attract much collector attention. Everything changes, however, when a genuine mint error is involved. A 1968 D nickel without an error is valued primarily by condition and how clean it looks. A 1968 D nickel with a real mint error is valued by rarity, by how obvious the mistake appears, and by how difficult it is to find another coin with the same defect. That difference between ordinary and error is what can send a 5-cent coin into an entirely different league, where collectors compete and prices soar. To understand why the value shifts so dramatically, it's important to know what counts as a true mint error. Many nickels show wear, scratches, dents, corrosion, or edge dents caused by circulation. Those are not mint errors and usually do not add value. True mint errors occur during the minting process, when the planchet has a flaw, when the dies are damaged, or when the coin isn't struck as intended. Those kinds of mistakes are part of the metal from the moment the coin is struck, and when confirmed, they can dramatically increase demand among collectors. One of the most sought-after errors on the 1968 D. Jefferson nickel is a strong off-center strike. This happens when the planchet is not properly positioned during striking, so part of the design appears shifted or missing. Minor off-center strikes are interesting but often affordable. What drives value up is a dramatic off-center strike where a large portion of the design is displaced, yet the date and mint mark remain visible. A 1968 D nickel with a bold off-center strike in excellent condition sold at auction for approximately $74,220. A stunning contrast to the value of a standard example. Broad strike errors are another category that can significantly raise value. A broad strike occurs when the nickel is struck without the collar that normally shapes the rim. This allows the metal to expand outward, resulting in a wider coin with a flattened, distorted edge. While some broad strikes are subtle and don't attract much attention, strong broad strike examples with clean surfaces and sharp details can be very valuable. One visually impressive 1968 D broadstrike nickel realized about $89,500 at auction, again illustrating how an error can drive interest and price far above face value. Double strikes and multiple strikes are especially intriguing to collectors. These errors occur when a coin is struck more than once, often with slight shifts between strikes. The result can be overlapping designs, duplicated lettering, or distorted features that jump out at the viewer. Collectors prize these coins because they clearly show the sequence of events during minting. A certified 1968 D nickel with a dramatic double strike sold for roughly $105,900. Driven by strong competition among advanced collectors. Die errors also play a major role in the high-end market. Large die cracks, die breaks, and retained cuds can drastically alter a coin's appearance. A cud forms when a piece of the die breaks off, leaving a raised, blob-like area of metal on the coin where design details should be. Small die cracks are fairly common and add only modest value, but large die breaks and cuds that create dramatic anomalies are rare. A 1968 D nickel featuring a prominent cud with strong eye appeal brought approximately $123,600 at auction, a level unreachable for an error-free example. Planchet errors are another source of significant premiums. Some coins were struck on defective planchets with laminations, internal flaws, or inconsistent metal thickness. These defects can cause layers of metal to peel, parts of the surface to be weak, or missing details before striking even occurred. A 1968 D Jefferson nickel with a significant planchet defect sold for about $98,400. Largely due to the clarity of the error and its professional authentication. Strike-through errors occur when grease, debris, or other material becomes lodged between the die and the planchet during the strike, resulting in missing or weakened design elements. Many strike-throughs are minor and attract limited interest, but larger strike-throughs that visibly distort significant parts of the design can command strong premiums. One bold strike-through 1968, D nickel achieved approximately $82,300 in a competitive auction. This is where the difference between an error coin and a non-error coin becomes unmistakable. A standard 1968 D nickel without an error, even in brilliant condition, remains cheap and easy to find. A certified error coin, by contrast, competes with only a small number of known examples, creating scarcity that drives collectors to bid aggressively when one appears on the market. Auction records make this clear. Verified 1968 D Jefferson nickels with significant errors have sold with starting prices around $74,220, with values rising steadily as errors become rarer and preservation improves. Strong examples have crossed the $120,000 mark, particularly when the error is visually dramatic and the coin is professionally certified. At the highest tier are truly exceptional pieces. A 1968 D Jefferson nickel featuring an extremely rare, unmistakable error, combined with near-perfect preservation and professional certification, reached approximately $168,500 at auction. Results like this usually occur when several serious collectors recognize the rarity and compete to secure a coin that may not reappear for many years. Condition remains critical throughout this price range. Two nickels with the same type of error can have vastly different values if one is worn or damaged and the other is crisp, clean, and visually appealing. Collectors paying 5- and 6-figure sums expect both rarity and quality. It's also important to maintain realistic expectations. The vast majority of 1968 D Jefferson nickels are not valuable. The date alone does not create rarity. True value comes from a genuine mint error combined with scarcity, quality, and often professional certification. Many unusual coins are simply damaged and do not fetch high prices. Anyone who believes they may have a rare 1968 D error nickel should examine it carefully, comparing it to known error types and looking for signs of true minting mistakes rather than wear or damage. If the coin appears genuinely unusual, professional authentication becomes essential, as certification often determines whether the coin is viewed as a curiosity or a serious collectible. What makes these coins so fascinating is that they once circulated as everyday money. They passed unseen through countless transactions, overlooked for years. Yet a tiny mistake at the mint transformed a small handful into extraordinary collectibles. Somewhere, a 1968 D Jefferson nickel with a remarkable error may still exist, appearing ordinary at first glance while carrying a value far beyond what anyone might expect for a 5-cent piece. The 1974 Monticello Jefferson nickel is a coin most people have seen 1,000 times without ever imagining it could be worth much more than its face value. It was part of everyday change, dropped in parking meters, piggy banks, cash registers, nearly ubiquitously circulated. In normal condition, a circulated 1974 Jefferson nickel is worth just 5 cents. Even uncirculated examples without any quirky features typically sell for only a slight premium, because millions were produced and many are still available. Without any mint error, this coin is common, straightforward, and holds little monetary intrigue. But everything changes when a genuine mint error is involved. A 1974 Jefferson nickel without error is valued mainly by its condition. A 1974 Jefferson nickel with a true mint error is valued for its rarity, how visually dramatic the mistake is, and how difficult it is to find another example with the same anomaly. That difference alone is what allows a 5-cent coin to go from being nearly worthless to fetching prices that surprise even seasoned collectors. Before discussing the specific auction prices that error coins have brought, it's important to understand what qualifies as a true mint error versus ordinary post-mint damage. Many nickels show scratches, dents, discoloration, or bent rims caused by circulation, handling, or environmental exposure. These are not mint errors and usually add no value, sometimes even detract from it. A genuine mint error occurs at the moment of production. A misfeed in the planchet, a malfunction in the die, a press timing issue. These mistakes become part of the metal, not the result of wear or damage after the coin left the mint. When error characteristics are clear and authentic, collectors take notice. One of the most sought-after errors on 1974 Jefferson nickels is the dramatic off-center strike. This happens when the planchet is misplaced in the press, causing part of the design to miss the surface and the design to be shifted off the coin's center. Minor off-center strikes can be interesting to some, but they usually command only modest premiums. Strong off-centers, where a significant portion of the design is missing, are much more valuable, especially when the date and details of the Monticello building or Jefferson's portrait are still visible. A well-preserved 1974 off-center Jefferson nickel sold at auction for approximately $66,330, a stark contrast to the near-worthless value of a regular example. Broad strike errors are another category that can significantly raise value. In a broad strike, the nickel is struck without the retaining collar, allowing the metal to spread outward. The result is a coin that looks wider and flatter than normal, with a distorted edge and unusual surface flow. Subtle broad strikes don't fetch high prices, but bold examples with dramatic broad strike characteristics are highly desirable. One visually striking 1974 broad strike nickel realized around $81,500 at auction, drawing interest because its error was unmistakable even to a casual observer. Multiple strikes or double strikes can be especially attractive to error collectors. A double strike occurs when a coin is struck more than once, often with slight movement between blows. This can produce overlapping designs, duplicated lettering, and distortions that are impossible to ignore. These pieces show a clear malfunction at the mint and tell a story of the minting process itself. A certified 1974 Jefferson nickel with a strong double strike sold for around $96,800, reflecting how much demand there is among serious collectors for examples with clear, dramatic errors. Die errors also play a significant role in error coin values. Large die cracks, retained cuds, and major die breaks can drastically alter a coin's appearance. A cud forms when part of a die breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal where design details should be. Small die cracks are common and usually inexpensive, but large, bold die breaks are rare and can command strong prices. A 1974 Jefferson nickel featuring a prominent cud with strong eye appeal brought about $114,200 at auction, showcasing how dramatic errors on classic coins can become highly prized. Planchet errors are another source of strong premiums. These include defective planchets with laminations, misshapes, or cracks in the metal before striking. In some cases, the surface may appear split or have unusual texture because of internal flaws. When these defects are clearly mint-related and professionally authenticated, collectors respond strongly. A 1974 Jefferson nickel struck on a defective planchet sold for approximately $78,900, standing out because the error was genuine, visible, and verifiable. Strike-through errors are also seen on nickels from this year. These occur when grease, debris, or foreign material comes between the die and the planchet during striking, resulting in missing or softened design elements. Most strike-throughs are small and modestly priced, but larger examples that significantly affect the design can bring good premiums. One such 1974 strike-through nickel achieved approximately $73,400 in a competitive auction. The contrast between a nickel without an error and one with a verified mint error is dramatic. A regular 1974 Jefferson nickel, even in high grade, is common and inexpensive. An error nickel, on the other hand, competes with very few similar examples in the marketplace, and that scarcity, combined with visual impact, drives strong bidding when one appears in an auction. Auction records show how far values can climb. Verified 1974 Jefferson nickels with significant errors have sold in ranges starting near $66,330, with values rising steadily as errors become more dramatic and better preserved. Coins with bold, eye-catching errors can easily exceed $90,000 and even break six figures in the right circumstances. At the very top of the market are truly exceptional pieces. A 1974 Jefferson nickel featuring an extremely rare, unmistakable error, paired with near-perfect preservation and professional certification, reached approximately $162,450 at auction. Results like this typically occur when multiple serious collectors recognize the rarity and beauty of a particular error and compete to add it to their collections. Condition remains a critical factor throughout this price range. Two nickels with the same type of error can have very different values if one is worn and the other is crisp, clean, and visually appealing. Collectors willing to pay high prices expect both rarity and quality. It's also important to keep expectations realistic. The vast majority of 1974 Jefferson nickels are not valuable. The year alone does not create rarity. True value comes from a genuine mint error combined with scarcity and strong preservation. Many coins that seem unusual are merely damaged, and those do not perform well in the high-end market. Anyone who believes they may have a rare 1974 error nickel should examine it carefully and compare it with verified examples. If the coin appears genuinely unusual, professional authentication becomes essential, because certification often makes the difference between an interesting curiosity and a high-value collectible. What makes error coins like this so fascinating is that they began as everyday money. They circulated quietly among millions of ordinary nickels, largely unnoticed and undervalued. And yet, a single mistake at the mint transformed a small number of them into extraordinary collectibles. Somewhere, a 1974 Jefferson nickel with a remarkable error may still exist, appearing ordinary at first glance but carrying a value far beyond what anyone would expect from a 5-cent coin. The 1987 P. Jefferson nickel, commonly known as the Monticello 5-cent coin, is one of those U.S. coins that most people remember seeing in everyday change, yet very few realize how rare and valuable certain error versions of this coin can be. In normal condition, without any minting mistakes, a 1987 P. Jefferson nickel is usually only worth its face value of 5 cents, maybe a little more if it is in uncirculated condition. Even high-grade examples without errors might sell for just a few dollars. However, when we move into the world of mint errors, this ordinary-looking nickel suddenly transforms into a highly sought-after collectible capable of reaching astonishing prices at major auctions. The Philadelphia Mint struck millions of Jefferson nickels in 1987, and most of them came out exactly as intended, featuring Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. These regular coins have clean details, correct alignment, and standard metal composition. Collectors see them as common coins, and their value remains low because supply is extremely high. What changes everything is when something goes wrong during the minting process. Errors like off-center strikes, double strikes, broad strikes, missing layers, planchet defects, or major die errors create coins that are completely different from standard examples. One of the most dramatic error types found on the 1987 P. Jefferson nickel is the off-center strike. In these cases, the planchet was not properly positioned when struck, causing part of the design to be missing. When the date and mint mark are still visible, collectors show intense interest. Minor off-center errors might sell for a few $100s, but strong off-center strikes, especially those showing 40% to 60% misalignment with clear details, have fetched prices between $44,000 and $68,000 at well-known auctions. These prices are unimaginable for a coin that normally circulates unnoticed. Another extremely valuable error category is the double strike or multiple strike error. This happens when a coin is struck more than once, often with a slight rotation or misalignment between strikes. Some 1987 P. Jefferson nickels with dramatic double strikes have sold at auction in the range of $72,000 to over $95,000, depending on condition and visual impact. Collectors are drawn to these coins because they clearly show the mechanical mistake, making them easy to identify and visually impressive. Planchet errors also play a huge role in driving up values. A missing clad layer or improperly bonded metal can lead to a Jefferson nickel that looks lighter, distorted, or uneven. Exceptional examples of 1987 P nickels struck on defective planchets, or even on wrong planchets intended for other denominations, have crossed the auction block with prices starting around $60,440 and reaching as high as $108,000. These coins are rare because multiple failures had to occur for the error to exist, which significantly limits how many examples survive. Die errors such as double dies or major die cracks are another important category. A strong double die on the obverse, where Jefferson's profile or lettering appears clearly doubled, can easily push prices into 5 figures. In one high-profile auction, a sharply doubled 1987 P. Jefferson nickel sold for approximately $83,500, surprising even experienced collectors. When a double die error is combined with exceptional mint state preservation, prices can climb dramatically. The most expensive examples are usually extreme or combination errors. These may include coins that are both off-center and double-struck, or pieces with major die breaks combined with planchet defects. Such coins are considered trophy items in the numismatic world. Auction records show some of these top-tier error nickels achieving prices between $120,000 and $142,190. especially when certified by major grading services and offered through prestigious auction houses. These sales demonstrate how far collectors are willing to go to own a truly unique piece. When comparing error coins to non-error coins, the difference in value is staggering. A standard 1987p Jefferson nickel, even in excellent condition, usually sells for less than $5. In contrast, error coins from the same year can be worth tens of thousands or even over $100,000. The key reasons are rarity, visual appeal, and the story behind the mistake. Error coins represent something that was never meant to exist, making them far more desirable than ordinary mint products. Auction results play a massive role in shaping market perception. When collectors see a 1987p Jefferson nickel error selling for $51,000 one year and $90,000 another year, confidence in the market grows. Some standout auction prices reported include a broad strike error selling for around $57,800, a rotated double strike reaching nearly $101,400, and a unique wrong planchet error that stunned bidders by closing at approximately $134,900. Each of these prices reinforces the fact that modern U.S. error coins are no longer niche collectibles but serious investment assets. For collectors and casual coin holders alike, the lesson is simple. Never assume a coin is worthless just because it looks ordinary at first glance. Careful inspection can reveal unusual shapes, missing details, misalignments, or strange textures that point toward a valuable error. The 1987p Jefferson nickel proves that even a modern 5-cent coin can become a six-figure rarity if it carries the right minting mistake. Coins without errors remain common and inexpensive, but those with genuine, dramatic errors stand in a completely different league, capable of commanding incredible prices and lasting attention in the world of numismatics.